this tune, it is for you. Oh, water slowly, you lure us in the late night. We rest peacefully upon a thick bed of ferns. La 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 la. La 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 la. From the sparkling water stream glides on so smoothly of the deepest blue without compare. Roll on, wave, roll on. La 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 la
Welcome to Big Blend Radio's First Friday Toast to the Art Show with Nancy Reed and Lisa Smith, the mother-daughter travel team. We're crazy. We've got to say that, right?
Well, that's true.
I got to say that. The mother-daughter travel team and publishers of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine and Parks and Travel magazine, both publications. You can see them if you go to bigblendmagazines.com. And you just heard Kawai Mapuna. It is from the album Hawaii Milham. It is by Allison Leialoha Milham. I think I'm getting this right. Don't laugh at me, Nancy. She is the current National Parks Arts Foundation artist in residence at the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. And we're super excited to have Allison join us. And go to her website, morninghourstudio.com. I love that name because I love the early morning hour. Is one of those amazing things, you know, to create. Of course, when we're talking about the National Parks Arts Foundation, we also have Tanya Ortega. She is the founder of the National Parks Arts Foundation. And really, this is such an incredible organization. They put artists, musicians, filmmakers, writers, poets, photographers, dancers, you know, whatever you do in the arts, you could submit to become one of their artists in residence in a national park unit, which is amazing. You stay in a park for a month and create some place like Hawaii Volcanoes National Park or Dry Tortugas out in Florida or Chaco Culture in the Chaco Canyon area, just these ancient sites in New Mexico. So go check out nationalparksartsfoundation.org. So Allison, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me.
So you're in the house, the Art B&B in the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, but it's like on the side where you're not quite in the lava flow, but you are, right?
I think it's on some lava flow, but not the really recent one, of course. But yeah, close to one section of the park, about 5 minutes, and then I'd say about maybe half hour from the main park. So a really beautiful area here in Ka'u, which is the southernmost district of the island.
Okay, so did I get your album name correct?
Yeah, you did. Hawaii Milham. I know it's a mouthful. Hawaiian words are really long and they have a lot of vowels. So they're sometimes tricky, but yeah.
I like it. I like this. This whole thing, we've been doing a lot of interviews with artists going to Hawaii through the National Parks Arts Foundation, and each time I'm like, I'm learning something new about Hawaii, and now I want to go. If you start, learning the language, you better go. But this is, tell us what the name of the album means.
So it's the name of a garden that Kalani, she was the last reigning monarch of the Hawaiian Kingdom, and she started this garden shortly following the unlawful overthrow in 1893. And she made the garden kind of as a place where people could gather. It was a really, difficult time for the Hawaiian people. And my understanding was that it was a place where people could kind of come together, be with one another, and support each other. And the kauna, or the hidden meaning, so a lot of Hawaiian music and poetry, there's like layers of meaning, right? So the kauna, or the story associated with the garden, is that the queen spelled out in the garden in small shrubbery this sentence, and it's, as the plants grow up out of the dark light and out of the dark earth and into the light, so shall light come to the nation. And so powerful, right?
I love that.
And so, yeah, that's kind of it. It took a while. Names are always hard, but eventually, my mom told me about the story of that garden, and I'm like, this is it. This makes sense for this project. So,
and Kawai Mapuna, that's the 10th track on the album. It's really interesting because you bring in this accordion sound and percussion, but the words, as we evolve, hold still, just really that's. Do you mean we have to be patient?
I think so. I think patience is, yes.
Wow. But that's what's awesome about where you are right now. You have the ocean, right? And that's also where Tanya Ortega, again, the founder of the National Parks Arts Foundation, she's in Hawaii. And Tanya, welcome back. How are you?
Great. Thank you for having me again.
Hey, you know what? We love these First Friday segments with Tanya and all these amazing artists that, have been hanging out in Hawaii. We've been doing a lot of Hawaii segments, and it just seems like, wow, the lava attracted everybody. And I love this because I think that a lot of people kind of may think that Hawaii is closed down between floods, potential hurricane issues, volcanic flow, lava flow, that this is important that people know that life is still going on in Hawaii.
Yes, and the lava flow that was happening at Fissure 8, that has all subsided. And so right now we're sort of back to business as usual. Hawaii Volcanoes National Park opened just the other day. So yeah, awesome. It's back. It's back. The fog, even the skies are much clearer. So it's gotten back. People have been telling me it's like it was about 20 years ago. Wow. Just beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah. I love this. I love this, and I love that. NPAF, as we say, National Parks Arts Foundation. You really have, these are unique opportunities. When we say the word unique, I mean it. Like, to be able to stay at Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, you're right outside, and then a newer part, right, Allison? I mean, is this kind of like a little paradise for you to stay for a month in this beautiful, the Art B&B house? Like, you can look out to the ocean. I mean, seriously, are you out on that balcony with your ukulele every day?
Pretty much. It's incredible. I mean, just to be able to look out at the ocean several times a day, every day, is just pretty powerful in and of itself. And this whole place down here, I just feel a lot of power and energy in the landscape. And and things change so quickly here. Like, the weather goes through a million different cycles in one day. It's a super special place.
Nice. And so for you, this is also part of your heritage, Hawaii, right? Because did I pronounce your middle name Leialoha, right? Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. And I'm lucky because mine are like the two most commonly known Hawaiian words, lei and aloha. So
I was like, I can do this. I could do that one, yeah. No, but so tell us a little bit about your family heritage, because coming back there, and then also this album, I was like, I know she's based in Utah. What is she doing playing Hawaiian music? And then I started reading up on it. Right? Yeah, because when you listen, you're like in it. You're in this, you're there. And it's just so, you're there. You feel the rhythm of the earth and you feel the rhythm of the ocean. And there's two rhythms and they go together, and your music is very much of, you're just in that zone, that pace, that cycle, the cycle of life. So to me, you feel very connected there, and I didn't know, and I didn't look at your pictures. I just listen to music. I'm a musician and lover of music and listened. And then I'm like, is she Hawaiian or not? She sounds Hawaiian. And then I'm like, oh, she's got Hawaiian in her blood there, you know?
Wow. Well, geez, mahalo for the you just sharing that. That's great to hear your kind of feeling about the music. And yeah, so my connection is on my home side. I'm Kanaka Uivi, or Native Hawaiian on my mother's side. And my grandmother, Dallas Kali'i Ho'oneaina Masman Vogler, was born and raised on Oahu. And she met an American guy, moved to California. And so all my mom and her siblings were born in California. My sisters and I were all born in California. And then slowly over the years, people have been moving back. So my grandma moved back in the later years in her life. My mom moved back. Aunts and uncles, cousins are moving back, and I hope to too one day. It's in the plans. We'll see if I can make it happen. But so
And so morning studio, you know, the morning hour. To me, there's something magical about that. Just as a creative, there's like very much when I was a teenager, I wasn't an early bird, but I was if we were going to a park or going on an adventure. Then I was like, I'm never sleeping, man. We're going out. So that there's something about that, and I know listeners I've said this always. Like, there's this thing about watching that changeover in time. Is that a creative moment for you, the morning hour?
Yeah, definitely. The morning is a really important time for me. I think. You know, the morning is just like that time when we're awakening, you know, that time where we can have that really serene, creative space. And so I'm definitely a morning person, and I feel like there's just magic in the early morning hours. It's a powerful time of day. So
I think there could be messages for those who are up and go watch the sunrise. There's messages. There's like you can afford to be calm enough to listen, whereas in midday, by the time midday comes around, not that you're not going to be creative, but everything's happening around you and there's so much to do, so you don't pay attention like you would like early morning, maybe sunset, and then openness. When the moon goes, like
today, the moon, we got to see the full moon today.
That was awesome.
I know. It's amazing. So I love that you call your studio that name. I mean, so you're ukulele, you're a songwriter, you're a singer, but you also do art too. Tell us about that. Did you do your album cover?
Yes, I did. In fact, it's kind of a big project, but I'm a bookbinder and a letterpress printer, and I do a few other kind of craft-based media. And so, that project is all hand printed and bound. A lot of the paper is handmade, not all of it, but and I did all the designs and play the music. I had a couple of friends play. I don't play the steel guitar, so I had a friend of mine, John Copps, play steel guitar, and then another friend help out on percussion. But otherwise, I play all the instruments and sing. And it was a lot of fun. And it was, I should say too, the project was actually my MFA in the book arts creative thesis project. So my committee, I needed to do something for my thesis, and so I convinced them to let me make a record, and they agreed. So
wow,
that was great for me to be able to get back into music, because music always, you know, depending on what I'm doing, being in grad school, it kind of was on the back burner, and I really wanted to bring it into my work again. So it was a great opportunity to do that.
Cool. Because I was looking at also that your album, you did this box set, and then you have like postcards and a lei kit. So you're teaching people how to make a lei?
It's a really simple, definitely like not at all like traditional lei making technique being taught, but it's, I just really wanted there to be some hands-on components of the project. So there's a little lei making kit, there's a stencil, there's postcards that are very much meant to be sent out, and some stickers and some other things. And so the thinking behind that was that, you know, the project's really about education and sharing Hawaii's story, but then there's all these tools or things to then take action. So you don't just learn the story, but you're prompted to actually do something. So
I like that. I like that. I think that's really important. There's so many things you'll see something that's inspiring to you or that upsets you in life. But if you don't take that step for action, you're kind of in that weird zone. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not exciting. You've lost that inspiration. You've lost that loving feeling.
And that's
you know what I mean?
That's the powerless zone.
Yeah.
When you
yes,
can't,
that's a good way to put it.
Feel like you don't want to be bothered enough to take action, then
that overwhelm.
That's like the powerless zone. And then the minute you decide to do something about something, now you got some power back, man.
Exactly.
And I like that.
What led you to take action and say, I'm going to submit my music and work and go to submit to be part of this residency program with the NPAF? Was the volcanoes? Was it the opportunity of just going out for a month or recreating and, not recreating, but regrouping with the land and part of your heritage?
Yeah, it's really a lot of things. I've had a long interest in geology, so I was certainly like watching the flows very closely. And to be honest, I was like kind of bummed that they stopped when I got here. But also, like Tanya said, the air quality's been beautiful, and it's really nice. And I know there was a lot of devastation and loss. People, a lot of people lost their homes, and but so there was that, and then I at a transition point in my life, I had decided to leave my job. I was working as a community outreach coordinator in the book arts program at the University of Utah for 3 years. And then I lost my mom in February. She had pancreatic cancer and left us really quickly at a pretty young age. So it's been a really, big period of transition and change in my life. And I had thought, it'd be great to get some residencies going to kind of like shoot me off into this new phase, leaving full-time employment. And I saw this one come up, and I just kind of had a feeling. I was like, this is probably a good thing for me to do. And this place, this time, I feel like my mom pulled some strings for me to make this happen. So it feels very right. And I feel like it's just been it's been so supportive for me to be able to get back into my creative work. And it's been really, really great experience being here.
Oh, that's awesome. That is, because I was reading your story and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And I was reading your resume and I was like, dude, like I could be reading like forever. You've done a lot, and I want to go to Tanya with this because this is such a special thing. It was like, submit your work, go for it. And yet, every artist we've talked to, whether it's a musician, a poet, photographer,
life-changing.
This is just such a special moment for people to take this month out for themselves too, to be able to create for a month. And I think that's something that sometimes people get nervous about. Oh, I'm going to be, away from, the normal land for a month. And it's also incredibly attractive. And I think that's the interesting thing about this. This is a true life experience for an artist, a bucket list experience, Tanya. Tell us how this happens. I mean, Hawaii, we've been doing a number of shows on the artists in Hawaii lately, and I'm really, really glad about that because I think it's important. But that you have a lot of people help you to make this happen. Tell us about this. I mean, being able for artists to be able to do this, I want people to know, like, hey, this is open to anybody in the arts, but you have to be on the ball to make it happen for yourself.
It really is, and you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm not doing this alone. If it weren't for the people at the park, the superintendent of the park, the cultural resources, we wouldn't be able to do this and let the artists really experience some things that the general public doesn't always get to do. And I think one of the most important part, if not the most important, because as you know, I've been an artist in residence, is being able to commit to a month and really just focus on what the inspiration might bring. I mean, as far as my work goes, when I was doing residencies, sometimes you can't force it. I mean, we know that we can't force creativity, or it just ends up being something that isn't authentic. But a month is a very good period to be able to kind of wrangle it, lasso it is what comes to my mind, and the inspiration. So yes, in all different kinds of media, we take artists, as you said, and dance, all kinds of things. And you know the story about somebody who actually applied with nothing, no project, and wrote an entire proposal on not having a project and just seeing what transpired while they were there. I mean, it was, you know, mind-blowing that somebody was like, I'm just going to see what happens. And, you know, he ended up making some incredible things. Yeah, I mean, you can't force it, but a month is a good time to let it happen.
I think it was Jerry Seinfeld with the show about nothing.
Oh, no. But I think, that's what's so neat is that you know, it's like you can tell that, you know, I know that when people submit their art and say, hey, I want to do this, that it goes through a guild. Like you have people look and say, you have a board that goes and makes a choice. It's not all up on Tanya as much as, well, that would be cool.
As much as, yeah.
Then she'd let everybody in. She'd be like, you can all have a party in the house together, you know, but you have,
true.
This is serious, and it's something that ends up on your resume, right? So it's not just, hey, I get to stay in Hawaii for a month, but this is something that is, like I say, life-changing. And as an artist's career, it's like the creativity, the focus, but it also ends up on your resume and can take you further afield. Your art can go further.
And, you know, it's competitive, but also what people that apply don't know is that, and they probably should, is that we have residencies that are by invitation. And so we actually keep an eye on every single artist that has applied. And I think I told you before, even one artist 6 years later, we are like, wow, this is perfect for that one person we saw years ago. Let's look them up, you know, kind of thing. So even if you don't get chosen for the residencies, they're still on our minds because we've seen what the artists have done, and it happens. So yeah.
So artists who submit, NPAF is watching you.
Yeah, we are watching you.
I can't do the Liam Neeson voice. I wish I had that. Like, you know.
Oh no.
I know. I want the Liam Neeson voice. I need it.
I have seen you and I will kill you.
I know, but you will be submitted to the art process. You know. No, but I think this is awesome. It's so exciting, and in so many different modalities of art that come through. And so I want to go back to you, Allison, and how have you felt? You've been there, your residency is pretty much over now, right? You're almost on the way home, which is like, when?
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah. Tell us about your experience, because I know you went in with the geology mind of like, I'm going to create from there. Is this going to be, where are you at now with this? Where are you?
So, my kind of, you know, like Tanya was saying, you really can't force it. And I did try to come in with a loose plan of writing a handful of songs. So if I walk away with, I've got 2 that are shaping up pretty nicely, and a third one that's just barely, I'm going to be working on this week. But if I walk away with 3 songs, I'm going to be really happy. And the next step for me is I'm actually applying for another residency at a print shop in New Orleans, where I plan to do all the printing and the album art for the 7-inch record that I'll be recording the music that I made here. And so it just, oh my God, it's so great to, you know, have like the month. It really is a great amount of time. And I almost feel like I'm on like a silent meditation retreat because I'm out here alone mostly, but to be able to get into this creative zone where, you know, I'll sit down at my instrument and play. I'll get up, look at the ocean, read, sit back down, as, you know, and it's just so wonderful to have that space and let, you know, for the ideas and inspiration to come. Because so often, you know, we're just busy. We've got all this pressure and we're working, going. But to just have that space carved out is really a gift. And so, yeah, it's been really, really wonderful just kind of watching my creative process and trying to be loose and not force it, but letting it come when it's there. And So that's neat. And I'm starting to think about the design part. That's going to be like the next phase for me. Is I'm a book artist, so I hope to make some designs and have kind of a book component with the record.
I think it's really hard to trust the process,
right?
Because you want to I got a schedule. Month sounds like long, but then maybe second day in, you're all panicked and that doesn't sound so long anymore.
Yeah.
But you have to like somehow trust the process and yourself. And and just the whole thing around
You're freaking me out, Nancy.
Well, no,
and I'm not there.
I've stretched canvases that are like 12 feet by 18 feet and had this great idea, and then I'm looking at it and going, I forgot everything I thought I was going to do, and it all changed, and I don't even know why. And then suddenly you just have to somehow you have to regroup your mind, and I don't
let it flow.
It comes from somewhere else.
Yeah, did that happen to you so far in your residency, Allison, where you suddenly just like, I'm gonna have to let go of some of this and let this water wants to go. It wants to flow this way.
Certainly, yeah. It's like there are moments where I'm sitting there and just trying like for hours and hours and hours to just force it, and nothing's happening, and then I was talking to my cousins and they're like, just go get in the ocean, just get out of the house, like go, go to the forest.
Yeah.
And I think, but then when it does come, like trusting it, like having that trust that it will come, and then just trying to be open when the ideas do come. So it's interesting. Yeah, the process is.
Because then it's all like you to move so fast.
Yeah. But you do this amazing attention to detail where, when your latest album, Ulu Haima Lama. I'm going to perfect. I'm trying. I'm just into it now.
Love it.
It's like a new language. It's awesome. It is a new language for me. But what is so amazing about this is what all these components you put together, whereas we're in the society of streaming music and there's no album covers anymore, really. I mean, even we interview musicians all the time. I'm like, can we see you with your instrument now? Like, we need a photo of this. It's become this one image streaming world. Some are really going into the vinyl side, which I'm like, yes, we can still have this quality thing and have this experience. When I look at vinyl, I look at experience. Obviously, we can do streaming and still have an experience with that. But there's this thing about, putting the needle on the record, which says, we're now going to listen and we're going to have this experience. And I think this is what's so amazing about what you're doing, and now going to New Orleans with this, because New Orleans is just happening. It's like this, Tanya, come on, we need a residency there. Just saying. I got friends. Okay. I got friends. You've got like the jazz, the jazz museum and everything that's part of the national parks. But going there, to me, Louisiana is its own little country within America. And I just find this fascinating going from Hawaii to there. It's just beautiful and perfect because there is craft there. This is going to be so special what you create there. This is exciting, that attention.
Yeah, and like you were saying, I think the experiential nature of vinyl, of like even CDs, but I mean more so vinyl, but looking through the album art and all of the thought that the artists put into that is just this immersive experience that we're kind of missing with the streaming thing. So yeah, I'm glad that vinyl's making a comeback, and I think books too. Sometimes people are like, everything's just being read on tablets and online, and I feel like with that shift, there's even more importance and value placed on those physical objects and the experience of interacting with them. So yeah, it's an interesting time for sure.
Paper cuts are good.
Well, there's a space of time between the person who's going to look at an artist, be it a painting or read a book or listen to something. There used to be a space of time, like, for example, going to get the record player, open the cabinet, sing, put the record on, put the needle correctly, and it's almost part of the performance of getting ready to enjoy, as opposed to let's just push that button. And I don't think we've caught up to just push the button.
We're screeching to go backwards on that. We don't want to.
Saying? We're missing that part of, it's like opening your Christmas presents before Christmas, which we all but
that ritual.
You miss the performance part.
Christmas.
Like when you open a book and you leaf through, like I always start at the back and move a little bit forward and then go to the front. It's my own ritual of, let me see. And when you just push something, you lose that you're not part of it as much as we used to be yet. I think it will all come to being, I hope, but it's like getting in a car that starts before you're actually already in it. You got to.
You mean like Tesla?
Yeah, I didn't say that. Sorry. I mean, there's certain things, rituals you do to get ready for what you're about to enjoy that get taken away sometimes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, you're an experience maker, Allison. I think I want to take your album that you have now that I know of and go outside and put it on those old gramophones. I want to go to Hawaii, excuse me, and I want to play it on an old gramophone, and I'd like to have, cool? Because I grew up in Africa, and this is our style. And then, back in the day, and you sit and listen to the gramophone outside. There's music has to be outside. It shouldn't always be boxed in, right? Take it outside, have that picnic, look at the ocean, and I'd like my champagne, and I would like to listen to music. I'm just saying, that's what I would like. Exactly. That's it. You give sense of place. And that's a big deal. I think that's a big deal. With Nancy talks about the
music does that.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to Hawaii. I want to go back to Tanya on this whole idea of where we are in the world of art, because I know Tanya is a photographer. We've chatted with you about your work, and you would spend hours in a building, to get that shot. Build your own camera, the whole thing. And I think this is what is so important. Listening to our conversation, I'm like, this is part of another thing we've never really talked about with the National Parks Arts Foundation. And this 1 month is really about that time and that process, and being able to do it, whereas we are always hurried. We, as anybody in the creative field, and then have that structure, and then you must do it now, and you must do it this way. Being able to go that experience for artists, Tanya, don't you think that experience for an artist and changing their creative process to have that time to do it, even though it may end up being still too short, also transfers to the audience of the art?
It does. It's the care that you take. It's sort of a quality issue, really, having the patience to say to yourself, I'm going to wait until, for me, a photograph happens. I'm going to be stubborn and sit here in this abandoned building for 24 hours until the light is right. And then even harder than that, I think, and very important to arts and artists and all crafts, really, I think the most important thing is when you have to tell yourself that what you've done is not any good. And or while you're creating something, to be able to say, this is not going to happen, I've got to walk away from it. Because that does transfer to, in some magical way, who knows what, to the audience. If you're not honest with the art that you're making, if you're not ready to do the hardest thing and hurt your ego or whatever, I mean, for me anyway, and be able to say, this is garbage, it is trash, and I must walk away from this. Even after you've spent hundreds of hours on something, And you have to take yourself out of who you are and view it as the audience. And I'm not saying any artist should make anything for an audience. I'm just saying what the reaction would be if that is how it's going to be presented. What context is your art taking? So you have to think about context. Take yourself out of yourself and really say, is this good enough? Did I force this by being hurried? So anyway, that's my view on that. Yes, it's very harsh.
Integrity. It's integrity. It's integrity to your art.
That is so interesting, because I've had experience of painting in public, which I've decided I will never do again, because you take on the people around you,
the entertainment role.
Like, and then they want, put pink there, do this there.
We've talked about Nancy and her wolf flicking of snow painting.
It's soul destroying, and then you're like, okay, I've just now shifted into another world, and
Well, Allison, for you as a musician performing, I know concerts and things. How's that? Like being able to stick to your core of your sound.
That made me, listening to Nancy, that made me think of I lived in Portland, Oregon for a little while, and I moved there after I graduated from undergrad, and I was like, I'm just really going to go all out and be a musician. And I got this gig at a little bar, a really cute little spot, the Liberty Glass. I had a weekly gig there, and it's kind of the background music. Everybody's drinking and hanging out, and having their cocktails, and I was just the musician there. And after like the fourth or fifth week, I was just like, man, it was like, I'm playing a lot lot of stuff that's kind of, pouring my heart out, and these people are just like talking, having these conversations, and it felt at a certain point I was like, this is soul crushing. I can't do this anymore.
It's like the Blues Brothers and Rawhide. Like everybody's throwing beer bottles, but you're playing something good.
Really?
No, I know what you. I did that as a musician too. You go out and I do the coffee shops were the worst because everybody's so intense. They're like, I'm doing my, I'm like, listen, Eventually,
the covers, I played covers and that was okay, but my own songs, I was like, I gotta, this is a feeling supportive.
But it's about but you think Portland, I think is an amazing city and cool. I love Portland, but
it's a great city.
Because you get into this, it is about where you perform in. You have to kind of like, okay, are they listening or not? And I eventually, and if you're in a band thing, then you have to pitch your original stuff, and it's like, oh God, now I have to teach you this stuff. It's like, seriously? And then you have to go through the male ego on this stuff. Like, dude. Stop it. But it's really hard, but staying true to your core, like what Tanya was talking about, is so key, and that's what makes art.
There's something really weird.
You guys are all warriors. They're amazing.
In music, for some reason, not so much in like painting a picture, but in music, for some reason, when the human hears a song for the first time, somehow it can't be popular in their mind till they hear it several times. There's something about that where I don't recognize that. Like, and it's like, but I kind of like that part, but I don't know how to say it properly, but it just seems.
I think it takes time for all of us as human beings, depending on who we are, our background, and what's going on when we experience something. There is that. That's a comfort zone. But art's role is to jump you out of it.
Exactly.
So, Allison, with your music, the thing is, I think that just this whole thing that you put into the entire package of, here's my art. Here, I'm going to teach you how to make a lei. I'm going to teach you all these things. You're giving people this amazing experience beyond the music. You're giving them this like, wow, this is something from someone's heart in all these different ways, and sense of place that we talked about. I think it's really interesting because you can have that experience, that gig, that one gig, and you're going to maybe like people are talking and carrying on, and depends on where you are, but there's going to be someone in that room that if you hit that one person, it works.
Right.
Sometimes in art, you never know. Someone just buys something, but you don't know how they felt, and it's not really your place to know, or it is, just as the way the world flows. But I think that's interesting about that moment. Like, you can tell that connection when you perform. I think sometimes visual arts don't get that action.
Yeah, they hit the music really hits people in a different way, I think. And I mean, I thought about that with the record. Is like, I'm going to use the music as kind of the piece of the project that lures in the listener or the audience. And then, and then you're presented with all this other content, and you take it as far as you want. There's a book, there's like links to other resources, and so it's kind of a jumping off point. But but I did think about kind of using music in that way to draw in the ear that maybe wouldn't be generally like interested in diving into some, history of the history of Hawaii necessarily. But yeah, so that was my sneaky little like, I'm gonna
awesome. Yeah, go get it. Yeah, I mean, you have to get you're gonna always get someone there going, oh man, that's cool. I remember doing this coffee shop, and there was basically everybody that was weaning themselves of whatever addiction there, and then the cops were there. And then I'm there, and I'm going, uh-oh. But anyway, I'm just kidding. But I was there playing, and I remember eventually going, okay, and I was doing a whole bunch of music. Very clean individual because of the people I was playing with and what I was doing for vocals and everything. And I remember these guys just came in and sat down and said, you play these covers, but we really want you to go back to your originals. Can you play them for us now? And I was like, wow, that is so weird. These two guys just sat down. And I was like, really? This nobody cares. They're drinking coffee. They're talking about, getting past their addictions. And I'm going, here, beast of burden. But he was like, no, play that again. And it was the weirdest evening because suddenly I was like rejuvenated again, because you sometimes get people that do that. And I love that about music, that you have that interaction. Tanya, for you, you had that with your photography where you get to talk to people with that. I mean, at shows, that's the beauty of shows, right? And these events that you do also with the National Parks Arts Foundation, where there's these shows so people can have that interaction. It's important.
It is, and what you're saying, excuse me, reminds me of, I don't know the quote exactly, but when Joni Mitchell was in concert and people were asking her to play some song, some popular song, and she didn't, she wasn't going to play it, and she said something like, did anybody ever ask Van Gogh to paint a starry night again, or something like this?
Yeah, I know it, yeah.
That quote, but the events that we have with the artists and Allison's the other day was just incredible. We had a full house. I don't know if we ran out of chairs, but it was pretty. It was great, Allison. It was just a wonderful way to spend the day, and she did. She brought what is that? I want to say keyboard, but I know it's not. It's probably not the proper terminology. And
electric,
everything else. An electric piano, or I don't know, but she brought everything. She did music, and she showed us a book binding, and it was incredible.
Oh wow, you did book binding so people could see that? That is awesome. Cool. I mean, that's like a lost art at some point, I think, Allison, for people to know that.
But it just brings it in personal, so people understand something. They were like, oh yeah, bookbinding, but they don't really know what it means.
I think that's awesome. What were people?
Yeah, there's a piece. Oh, go ahead, Allison.
Oh yeah, no, it's a fun field to be in for sure, because it is, I mean, there are some academic programs and ways to learn, certainly, but in fact, I just connected with a pretty well-known bookbinder and conservator over in Hilo. His name's Jesus Sanchez, and he's kind of a pretty big deal. So I actually met with him last night and got some feedback on my project, so that was great. And it was just fun to talk shop with another bookbinder. But there are very, very many of us.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Now, Allison made one of her pieces that she showed us is what do you call it? It's the whole package with the album, book. It's just crafted beautifully. What is the name of that piece altogether? And it's been collected by numerous libraries and museums or something. Could you talk a little bit about that piece? It was amazing.
Yeah, so that's the box set of. It's a limited edition of. I made 50 copies, and it's the full name is Uluhai Malama Legacies of Liliuokalani. So, yeah, and that I think I've got about 5 left, so it's almost sold out. And my big bragging point is the Library of Congress purchased a copy recently, but it's in most of the UCs, and yeah. Stanford and Yale and different big collections have a copy, and that's what's so great about being a book artist. It's in some ways it's a tough gig with things how they are, but there are these academic libraries and they collect artist books, and it's a public the public can access that collection, so it's really a great repository for the kind of work that we do in the book arts.
Oh, I love that. And
so cool.
that brings me back to Tanya, because doesn't sometimes that happen with the National Park Service, that they acquire some of the art from the artists in residence through NPAF into their libraries?
Yes. In fact, oftentimes artists are able to donate pieces, or the park is able to purchase pieces for the park. So we're hoping that that's going to be available here, I think.
Nice.
So that would be great. I mean, we have our artists, the parks get a chance to decide if they're going to take the artist's art, even, years after the residency. Oh, and that's another point that I wanted to make. As far as inspiration goes, I don't know of a single artist in residence that we've had that isn't still inspired by their residency years later. Yeah. So Allison, you might, at some point be sitting there and then you're like, all of a sudden, wow, I've got these lyrics to a song being inspired by something I did at the residency. So yeah, years later, it stays with you.
That's one of those big lifetime things. There's things in there are big experiences you have in your life, and when I look, all the interviews we've done with you, Tanya, and the different artists, musicians, and poets, and photographers, and just everyone just moves me. Just listening and having these conversations makes me take that extra step of being bolder in creativity in whatever I do. Especially with the IRS. But hello. Nice. I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But it's, what I mean? There's this, it's a big deal, because it is something when you have an experience, and when it's something super memorable that you're creating, it's memorable. It's part of who you are, your DNA as an artist and a creative person, and it spreads out to everybody else. The National Park Service wouldn't exist without the artists. That is the part of the history. The lineage of the park system comes from that. And it's an incredible story of how that happened. And to me, this is the beauty of this whole thing. And I get excited every month. So Tanya, anybody we should be thanking on today's show in Hawaii? For everything. Oh, yes,
the Friends of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, the Volcano Art Center, and the National Endowment for the Arts, and, of course, the Park Service there at Hawaii Volcanoes National Park.
Awesome. And any deadlines coming up that people should know, starting in mid-October through, or you never know what's going to happen. Sign up for the newsletter. Go to naitonalparks-artsfoundation.org now. Get it.
Yes, very good. That's, we thought that we would be more on a schedule at this point of opening up residencies and having them on a schedule, just always up, but they are rotating. We might have something up for only a couple of weeks. Something might take 2 years to transpire, and then the park wants somebody immediately. So I think the deadlines, yes, we have deadlines coming up, but the best thing to do is just to sign up for the email list. And I'd like to say it's a newsletter list, but sadly we don't have time to write newsletters, and so you'll just get reminders.
It's an alert. It's an email alert list.
It's an alert.
It's like apply now.
It's the NPAF Art Alert. And follow them on Facebook and Twitter. You guys are really good at that, posting what's going on and the different events and everything. Allison, so awesome to connect with you on the show. I want to go to Hawaii and just sit and play with the birds and drink my champagne. Okay.
Thank you both so much.
You know, we just keep trying to tell Tanya to let us take over the Art B&B for a year, but anyway, she won't because she has artists that have to be there. But honestly, just a real, I always get excited about meeting new artists and musicians, and I encourage everyone to go to your website, morninghourstudio.com. It's like an Instagram journey when you go on your website. That's cool. And also follow Allison on Instagram as well. Everybody, we're going to play a song. We're going to close with a song. And this, I love this because there's roosters in it, and you can hear the ocean, and you can hear birds. And this is the gramophone song. This is the champagne gramophone, like, get up as dawn is coming. Umia ke aloha I pa I loko. Did I do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us about this song.
So this is the closing song of the album, and it's actually a song that the Queen never composed music to. So it's just, I took her words and then I composed this simple melody, and it's a pretty poignant one. It was actually one of the ones that was smuggled out of the palace and published in one of the Hawaiian language newspapers. So it's really a message of it's uplifting her people, encouraging her people to persist. The title translates to persist in your deeply held love for your nation. So.
I'll deeply persist. I love that. Everybody, everyone, go to nationalparks-artsfoundation.org again. Keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. That's where you'll see all our shows as they go live, or you can listen as they go live, or you can listen anytime on demand through all kinds of places like iTunes, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, Stitcher, Player.fm. So bigblendradio.com. Again, Allison's website is morninghourstudio.com. And also nationalparks-artsfoundation.org. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Tanya. And here it is. Umia ke aloha I pa I loko. I'm just going to keep saying this. I have a new language. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Your heart has but one concern. It is for the people